In this video, we're going to talk about using proper lifting technique, how to manually lift items properly to reduce injury. Sprain and strain injuries are among some of the most painful and frustrating injuries that MADA observes. Often they're going to lead to lost work days, work restrictions that make it harder for you to get your job done, physical therapy that's seemingly ongoing where you have to leave work throughout the week, and often nagging long-term injuries. None of these are good things to have. Learning to lift things properly and being mindful of your body's limitations can help you have a long and pain-free career. Here's a quick list of what you need to do a proper lift. Plan the lift and test the load. You need to know how much it is you're going to be lifting and how you plan on going about it. You need to get a firm footing and get your balance. Depending on the shape of the object, you might be wider or more close together, but however you're standing, you need to make sure you're well balanced. Bend the knees, don't stoop. The back should be straight but not vertical. So don't bend at the waist, bend at the knees, and try to keep your spine neutral. So you want to keep that natural curvature in your spine. Grip the load securely. Getting a good grip on the load makes all the difference when it comes to making a safe lift. You'll know if you've spent any time in a weight room, if you use wrist straps to pick up a weight, if you're doing a pulling type exercise, how much stronger you are just because of taking grip out of the equation. So make sure you get a good grip on it. Engage your core muscles. In order to keep your back straight throughout the entire lift, you need to have your core engaged to some degree. Otherwise, you're going to cave in like a wet noodle. Lift with your legs, not your back, as you guys have been told many, many times before in your careers, I'm sure. And you need to keep the load close to your body throughout the entire lift. The further you are away from the midline and the midway point between your feet, the more stress it's going to put on the lower back as you got to pull yourself back upright in order to stabilize. So keeping it close to your body the entire time is going to take off the perceived rate of exertion substantially. You want to keep that load close to your body when you're carrying the load as well. You can see from the figure below where you're most strong in the green zone, as they call it, anywhere between the chest and the knees. And the closer you are to that midline there, where that guy's actually holding it in the picture, that's where you're strongest. So you go out any further, you're going to be weaker. You go down lower, you go up higher, you're going to be weaker. So carry it in that green zone. Don't twist, move your feet to turn. Some other items you should consider are where is your starting point whenever you're starting the lift. From the figure you saw where the green zone is, if you could start the lift in the green zone, off of a cart, off of a table, off of a pallet jack of some sort, that would definitely take the stress off of you because the distance that you have to lift would be substantially shorter. Avoid lifting above the shoulder as much as possible. Shoulder injuries are a major concern for people who work in fixed operations. So you want to protect those shoulders as much as possible, and lightening any loads that go above the shoulder would help out quite a bit. Watch where you're going. As you can see in the picture there are a lot of things that somebody could trip on. So housekeeping comes back into play always. And if you need to move something, clean some things up, go ahead and do that first. Because if you fall while you're carrying something heavy, it's not going to be pretty. And to lower an object, use the same steps as lifting an object, but you want to go in reverse. You need to use the same amount of caution. Don't just drop it to the floor loosey-goosey. You want to be powerful in your core, in your arms, and use your legs to lower yourself down. Awkward or heavy loads should be team lifted if you can't use mechanical assistance, which I'll talk about in a second. If your company has a policy on what requires team lifting or mechanical assistance, you need to follow that. So there could be a weight limit. And you need to talk to your supervisor if they haven't communicated that with you. But whenever you do go to make a team lift, make sure you communicate with your coworker. 1, 2, 3, go. Make sure you know where you're going, the both of you, and how you plan on making the lift together. Get a firm footing and a grip. engage the core, lift with the legs and not the back, don't twist, move your feet to turn. So using those same concepts, but together as a team and communicating with your coworker is critical. If we can use mechanical assistance above lifting by yourself or above team lifting, we need to do that. Mechanical assistance is considered an engineering control, thus it's more effective. As you can see the chart there of the hierarchy of controls. Starting at the top of the list, those are the most effective, and as we go down the list, the least effective they are. So if we could avoid it or substitute it for something else altogether, that would be perfect. If not, we need to engineer it out somehow, which would be like the mechanical assistance. If we can't do that, we need to use administrative controls, which would be the team lifting and the training, and then PPE would be last. So training is required if you're going to use a lot of these mechanical assistance devices that are available in the workplace. Forklifts, walk behind electric pallet jacks, things like that often do require training. So you need to talk to your supervisor and always follow your company's policies, because we could create a greater hazard by using these mechanical assistance devices improperly. Here are just a few mechanical assistance devices that are probably available in some form or another in your work area. I know a lot of service departments now are having those scissor lift tables to pick up heavy items. I think they're grossly underused. So if you have those available, make sure you know how to use it, and if it requires training, talk to your supervisor. Even something as simple as a cart could be considered an engineering control. Why? Because you can move it across the floor without putting extra strain on your body, and it lessens the amount of height that you need to pick up the object with. So carts are great tools. Same thing with your little wheel dolly there, or a forklift, which would obviously require training. It would fall in that category as well. But these aren't the only mechanical assistance devices that you probably have available to you. They're just some examples. But use what's available to you. Take some of the load off yourself and put it on your tools. In conclusion, you need to listen to your body and take care of yourself. Chances are you do this job, you plan on doing it for the rest of your life until it's time to retire. So you need to think about your future and what you need to do to take care of yourself, and the stress that you put on your body day in and day out on the job could be lessened substantially if you follow some of these common sense rules and guidelines, like using proper lifting technique all of the time, no matter what size the load is, and using team lifting or mechanical assistance where possible. Now go forth and lift safely.